You picked up your phone today without deciding to. You know this because you can't remember the moment you chose to reach for it. One moment it wasn't in your hand, the next moment it was. The average person checks their phone 96 times per day. That's once every 10 minutes of waking life. And for most of us, the number is higher. Most conversations about phone addiction focus on the behavioral side: habits, screen time, notifications. But the neuroscience reveals something far more serious. Chronic smartphone use is not just changing your behavior, it is physically restructuring the hardware of your brain. In this video, we're going to look at exactly what the research shows is happening inside your brain and what that means for your ability to think, focus, and feel. To understand what your phone is doing to your brain, you first need to understand dopamine. Dopamine is not the pleasure chemical. That's a common misconception. Dopamine is the anticipation chemical. It is released not when you receive a reward, but when you anticipate one might be coming. Your smartphone is a dopamine delivery device engineered by some of the most sophisticated behavioral psychologists in the world. Every feed, every notification, every like is designed around a principle called variable reward schedules, the same mechanism that makes slot machines the most addictive gambling devices ever created. You don't know if the next scroll will show something interesting. You don't know if you got a new notification. That uncertainty is the trigger. Dopamine fires every time you check, not because there's always something there, but because there might be. Variable reward schedules produce the strongest behavioral conditioning known in neuroscience. Your phone uses this intentionally. Over time, this repeated dopamine stimulation causes your brain to do something called downregulation. Your dopamine receptors become less sensitive. Your baseline level of interest in the world drops. Activities that used to feel engaging, books, conversations, work, nature, start to feel flat. And the only thing that provides sufficient stimulation is the phone. Now we get to the structural changes. And this is where the research becomes genuinely alarming. Gray matter is the term for the regions of your brain dense with neuron cell bodies, the processing centers responsible for memory, emotion, decision-making, and self-control. More gray matter density in a given region generally means more processing power in that area. A 2023 study published in PLOS ONE analyzed brain scans of heavy smartphone users and found measurably reduced gray matter density in the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for sustained attention, impulse control, decision-making, and working memory. The reduction was significantly correlated with the number of daily phone checks. 2023 PLOS ONE. Heavy smartphone users show measurably reduced gray matter in the prefrontal cortex, the Attention and Self-Control Center. A separate study from King's College London found structural differences in the insula, a region involved in self-awareness and emotional regulation, between heavy and light phone users. Heavy users showed patterns consistent with reduced capacity for self-regulation. Let that land for a moment. Your phone use is not just creating bad habits. It is physically thinning the part of your brain responsible for the ability to stop using your phone. Beyond the structural changes, chronic phone use produces two functional effects that directly impair daily performance: shortened attention span and reduced memory encoding. Research from the University of Texas at Austin found that the mere presence of a smartphone on a desk, even face down, even off, reduces available working memory capacity by a measurable amount. The brain is automatically allocating cognitive resources to resist the urge to check, leaving fewer resources for the task at hand. Face down phone on your desk reduces your working memory capacity even when off and face down. UT Austin study. The memory effect is equally significant. Your brain encodes memories based on the depth of attention paid during an experience. When you are half present, experiencing something while simultaneously monitoring your phone, the encoding signal is shallow. The memory trace formed is weak and decays rapidly. This is why entire days can feel like they've left no memory trace at all. The phone did not just distract you from the day, it prevented the day from being remembered. Willpower does not work against smartphone design. The engineers who built these apps have studied human behavioral psychology for decades. Competing with them using raw discipline is a losing strategy. The only reliable method is physical distance. Phone in another room during deep work, not face down on the desk. The University of Texas study found that physical separation completely eliminated the cognitive cost. Mere presence did not. The dopamine response is triggered by the anticipation of a notification, not the notification itself. This means reducing notifications to 10 instead of 50 still produces the same pattern of anticipatory checking. The fix is to turn off all non-essential notifications entirely. Not fewer, none. Check apps deliberately at scheduled times rather than responding to signals. The lowered dopamine baseline that makes everything feel boring can be reversed, but it requires deliberate periods of low stimulation activity. Walking without headphones, reading without a phone nearby, sitting in silence. These activities feel almost physically uncomfortable initially because your baseline has been driven so low that normal stimulation feels like nothing. Within 10 to 14 days of reduced phone use, most people report measurable improvements in their ability to focus on slow stimulation activities. The first 20 minutes of your day set the neurological tone for the following hours. Checking your phone immediately on waking puts your brain into reactive mode before it has had a chance to establish its own agenda. The stress hormones triggered by early news, messages, or social media create a cortisol pattern that persists through the morning. Protect the first 20 minutes. No phone. Let your brain wake up on its own terms. The phone sitting in your pocket is not neutral. Every hour it is present and accessible, it is drawing on your cognitive resources, reducing working memory, increasing cortisol, and maintaining the anticipatory dopamine loop even when you're not using it. And with chronic heavy use, it is doing something more permanent, gradually reshaping the physical structure of the brain region most responsible for focus, self-control, and decision-making. This is not an argument for throwing your phone away. It is an argument for understanding what it is doing so you can make an informed decision about how to use it. Your brain's neuroplasticity means these changes are reversible. The gray matter lost can be rebuilt. The dopamine baseline can be restored. The attention span can be retrained, but only if you understand the mechanism and choose to intervene.